Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. I want to welcome all of you guys from New Tech and, of course, all of you here on YouTube for your guys' continued support.
We start things off from Newsweek's Politics. Joe Biden bracing for most difficult midterms in 48 years. Imagine that. President Joe Biden and the Democrats are facing the most difficult midterm elections in 48 years, according to new polling from Gallup that shows Americans' dissatisfaction with the state of the U.S. That's right. Gallup found that the mood of the nation is the worst it has been in any midterm election year since 1974, back in Dick Nixon days, after he resigned from the presidency following the Watergate scandal and investigations, which pale in comparison to today. So I just want to get your thoughts and comments down below on what you think about the midterms. Is it going to be a red wave and or a red tsunami? Let me know down in the comments. And while we're here, make sure you smash that like button to show the algorithm in 2022 that conservative commentary is welcome here on the YouTubes. And, of course, all the great support I get from the various new tech sites. We move on to Chuck Todd, NBC's Chuck Todd. Democrats are in some serious trouble for midterms. Now, this could be a ploy, of course, by the Democrats who know they're in trouble. But, of course, I do not anticipate the Democrats are going to go down without a fight for sure. This is why they're pulling all the stops. And, of course, we've covered many of those stops to include, of course, gun control measures, the recent leak from the Supreme Court. And, of course, as of today, this recording on Thursday, June 23rd, the handing down from SCOTUS on the Second Amendment and shooting down some of the things there in New York concerning concealed carry. But we move on. In a segment of NBC's Meet the Press Sunday, host Chuck Todd warned of a disaster looming for Democrats in the 2020 midterm elections. His comments came in light of the new poll from the network indicating that 3/4 of Americans believe the country is headed down the wrong path. Now imagine that, 75% of the country actually think there's a problem. Imagine that. Voters' views about the economy begin to harden in an election year around May. If that theory holds, Democrats are in some serious trouble right now because in our new NBC News poll, just 16% say the country is headed in the right direction, while a whopping 75% say we're on the wrong track. That's really tough for Chuck Todd to probably admit, but we go on. From the Washington Free Beacon, here's why the South Texas special election spells doom for Dems in November. As I said, I really just don't see the Democrats going down that lightly and anticipating that much of a rollover, but we will have to see. Republicans flipped a majority Hispanic seat in South Texas for the first time in more than a century Tuesday night. Of course, we have talked about this in our previous video. Republican Mayra Flores, of course. And this was, I lost my place of reading. Anyway, suffice it to say here, Republican Mayra Flores became the first Mexican-born woman elected to Congress after she defeated Democrat Dan Sanchez by 8 points in the special election for Texas. Now, as we talked about previously, this is a plus 8D district, I believe it is. And then, of course, you have someone like, say, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It's like a plus 28 in her district. So you can kind of see. I don't anticipate AOC losing, but you never know. The Democrats could make plans to shift her out. We'll see the same with Rashida Tlaib and perhaps Ilhan Omar. But it is yet to be determined to see. But when we look at Real Clear Politics, I apologize for the popping of all the ads here. I have a new ad blocker. I might have to change it out. But nonetheless, we move on. So the 2020 generic congressional vote, and as you can see here, the Republicans are leading by 2.8 points, so 44.3 versus 51.5. These margins are actually quite astronomical when you think about like how in previous years the differences have been where Democrats were actually in the lead and the Republicans still won. So now we have the Republicans in a pretty significant lead here. And, of course, the Democrats falling behind. So it could be a very, very, very interesting midterms, as we have discussed. And as Chuck Todd was alluding to, as you can see here, his approval, or President Biden's approval, is only at 39.6, and his disapproval is at 56.1. And we get a refresh here because the ad blocker is not instigated. And but we can see here, this is a plus 16.5 error of margin. So technically he could be at a 72% disapproval. So imagine that from Joe Biden, the vote by mail surrogate president, Joe Biden, who, of course, everyone thought, or who many who voted for Joe Biden thought, oh, we finally have an adult in the room. Well, we got a very old adult in the room who's suffering from mental cognition, and I don't mean to say that in any derisive manner. The man does suffer from obvious mental conditions that people experience as they age, which is interesting because President Trump will be 78, I believe, in 2024 when he is running again, as we anticipate in 2024. But that's what I had for you guys this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments. Below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to, where you can see my daily post, as well as the Amazon link if you guys are Prime members or order frequently from Amazon. You guys can use that link, go to the landing page, and search for what you're looking for. And of course, it helps out the channel. Here in 2022, thank you for the likes, the shares, for those on New Tech, as well as here on YouTube, and appearing right there on the screen for all of you watching on YouTube. That would be the channel icon. You can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys right there behind that camera next week.